Oh, hello everyone. Today, I'll be making a very interesting review to celebrate the month of Black History Month. As I finally understood why I waited so long, that there are some interesting facts about why there's a brand new video I'm doing today. So, I'm guessing that this year is officially the 25th anniversary of the first ever Marvel Cinematic Universe film ever made. I call this movie Blade. Even though development of Blade originally began around the year 1992, although Blade was originally a character introduced in 1973, I noticed that there were loads of interesting actors that have been involved in it. I heard some rumors that, Lil Double L Cool J, Denzel Washington, and Lawrence Fishburne were all considered to portray Blade. Although he's depicted as a vampire hunter, the concept of Blade that was almost going to be a spoof movie. At one point he was going to be white, but they want him to be more of discovering how Blade would ground himself in a sense of reality with vampirism as a biological disease. Even though it felt like almost Wagnerian in scope, it felt like an interesting concept. Even though the director behind Blade, David S. Goyer, along with Stephen Norrington, have cited some interesting concepts of what Blade was going to be like. Originally, Goyer cited From Dusk Till Dawn, as well as Vampire in Brooklyn and Interview with the Vampire, as inspiration for the film, of what this film was going to be involved with. I heard some casting choices that Kirsten Dunst was originally going to be involved in Blade as Karen Jensen, but eventually she stepped out due to her commitment to Small Soldiers and was replaced with N. Bushy Wright. Even though we would not forget how there were loads of actors involved in it. Like, they added Stephen Dorff as Deacon Frost, Chris Christopherson as Abraham Whistler, Donald Logue as Quinn, Udo Kier as Gaetano Dragonetti, Tracy Lords as Raquel, Ali Jova as Mercury, Kevin Patrick Wells as Officer Krager, Tim Guinea as Dr. Curtis Webb, Sanaa Lathan as Vanessa Brooks, and Eric Edwards as Pearl. As I know that Stephen Norrington also played Michael Morbius in a deleted scene where Morbius was going to be the main villain of Blade, but eventually that went to Deacon Frost instead. Although this movie deals with the story of Blade, who is a damp-eared vampire hunter with vampire strengths without the weaknesses. Although he's a human disguised as a vampire, he teams up with his mentor Abraham Whistler and hematologist Karen Jensen to fight against vampires, including the maniacal Deacon Frost. When this movie got released on August 21st, 1998, Blade was a commercial success that grossed over $70 million at a total of $131.2 million on a budget of $45 million. Even though it received massively awesome reception from audiences alike, it garnered a cult following of positive reviews. It was hailed to be one of Wesley's awesome roles. It was followed by two sequels, Blade 2 and Blade Trinity, both written by Goyer, who also directed the latter. Even though it was noted as a dark superhero film from way ahead of its time, it was the first Marvel film to be so successful that sets the stage for further comic book film adaptations within the next 25 years, including the new Quantum Mania that we know of. Even though the special effects are amazing in this movie, I'd appreciate the 2.5D effects on its CGI animation on the blood itself. Even though it was filmed in what I saw in the movie, I heard some rumors why. I checked out some interesting filming locations. There are some interesting facts what you did know about this movie. It was filmed throughout Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, as well as Deaf National Valley Park, St. Mary's Hospital, including London, England, Moscow, Russia, and also Los Angeles to Long Beach, California, USA. It feels like a global world tour trip to do this. There are some positive qualities I gave, but let me just dive into some interesting ideas of what the bad qualities of Blade are like. There are some bad qualities I can think of. Now, there are some interesting qualities of what I could find. If you type in, let's type in alternate versions, and voila! If you look at the bad qualities of Blade, its bad qualities is that the TNT TBS cable TV version omitted all the graphic violence and gory explosions that were not appropriate for kids who are just too young to watch it. And also, they omitted the Moscow ending for no good reason. By 2017, its Sci-Fi USA Network version ends up omitting all the F-bombs. However, to make things worse, the German version had a not under 18 rating that is considered to be inappropriate for little children. Although it was not under 16, meaning that a lot of children were not allowed to watch Blade in Germany because of 14 minutes of footage being removed, which is only exclusive to the United Kingdom, Canada, and the United States, but not in Russia or Germany. And in the original theatrical release, there's 5 seconds of more footage of Mortal Kombat shown to be close up. Although, in the TV version, in Frost's Penthouse, it can be seen it. However, on the video release, it's omitted from existence. It feels kinda rushed and complicated of what I understand why the bad qualities keep bugging the film off. You know what really also bugs me off? The most 70% of some scenes were deleted. Like, they had some interesting idea what this movie took only 1 hour and 45 minutes to make a film like this. As I noticed that Jet Li was going to play Deacon Frost, but he decided to do Lethal Weapon 4 instead. Although Stan Lee was going to make a cameo appearance in that film, he ended up getting kicked out of that film because he would be too uncomfortable to be involved in it for a superhero movie that is full of vampires. For some reason, this film, however, this version of Blade is a lot younger than the other one from Marvel Comics, having been born in 1967 rather than 1929. For some reason, that really grinds my gears off. As I know, the weapons in this movie are quite uniquely awesome. Although, this movie beats The Matrix by a landslide, despite having a surprising amount of special effects that are not appropriate for kids, for some reason. It's kinda amazing that I'm definitely not a Matrix fan, even though I could appreciate that Buffy the Vampire Slayer is connected to Blade, because I understood why it's all about vampires being hunted by some team of badass warriors. It sounds like an awesome concept to do this though, as I'm hoping to see the upcoming standalone reboot for next year. As I'd say, this movie is quite interestingly awesome. Although, despite some redeeming qualities, the body count in this whole movie only takes 88 bodies to be killed. Wow. It sounded very awesome for a movie like this. But, with that out of the way, I had no idea that The soundtrack is very awesome in my opinion. That it's a lot better than The Matrix's god-awful soundtrack. As I know why this soundtrack kicks ass, is that all of its songs were so awesome that it's inspired by the motion picture, and it looks a lot better than The Matrix's motion picture. Even though it's kinda amazing to watch this awesome movie, I'd say, let me give this movie... Oh, I've got the lucky number right here. I'd give Blade an 8.2 out of 10 for being an awesome blockbuster movie of 1998. But with that out of the way, I just have to say to you now, goodbye!